Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled, the TV podcast here in the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. I'm Peter Bradley, and with me, as always, is Mario Miranda
What's up, guys?
and Connor Ryan.
Hey everyone.
We're going to be talking about a bunch of TV shows this week, as we do every week. We reviewed Winona Earp, 11/22/63, Better Call Saul, iZombie, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you listen to the audio version, all of that's in the timestamps. You can get them at the end of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, the links to all those reviews, individual videos, will all be on the screen, and you can click them whenever you feel like. So that's all the reviews for this week, but of course before we do that, we're going to go through the week's TV news as Connor's chronic hiccups rears his ugly head once again.
Hey, for anyone who speaks hiccups, I was like translating all that information you just gave them just into one short burst.
Sure. Alright, first up on the news this week, Freeform, which is a new title for an old channel. ABC Family is now called Freeform, and that's where you can currently get your, I believe Pretty Little Liars is on that channel.
Is this not the one that Shadowhunters is from?
I think it is, actually, you're right. Yeah.
Because that was them when they launched Shadowhunters, was their flagship of renaming the channel.
That's right. Because we all went, what the fuck is Freeform? Because we're like,
Yeah.
But it's because they just changed the name of a channel, so. Well, they're making a big play. We've got a lot of new shows from them, but first of all, and easily the biggest one, is they've greenlit a Marvel show. We're going to get Cloak and Dagger as a quote-unquote teenage romance superhero series on Freeform. And my initial thoughts to that is, well, could be good. It could also be teen romance crap, depending on how it's done.
I mean, Shadowhunters is not... That's kind of the only thing we've really seen from this new brand of it, and it's not exactly encouraging for the style of teen.
And given that Pretty Little Liars is already a sort of a holdover, and that's like one of its other big shows, I've never seen that, but everything I've seen from like promo images and
Makes you want to not watch it.
Yeah, the fact that my little cousin who's like 13 is really into it makes me just stay away. This is a show for you. I'll be over here watching like Breaking Bad and shit. You, you do you. I want no part of it.
You do you.
Cloak and Dagger, of course. I'll let Mario tell us who Cloak and Dagger are, because he'll just have this ingrained into his mind.
Yeah, we just have two characters that kind of grow up together, and that's what they comes to the whole love story, that they're friends since high school in their young age, and they kind of grow together, and they're supposed to be like in a shitty neighborhood in New York, and they end up getting in a relationship. And there's also an ultimate version of them, and it's essentially the same idea. The point is that they end up getting these powers manifested, and they're like the opposite ends. Cloak and Dagger, both one's black, one's white. Not literally necessarily, but just that one of them is in this cloak where you can teleport people and kind of bring them to this dark area and then bring them back to another place. And Dagger shoots light.
You say not literally, but I can imagine them changing it.
Well, no, actually, well,
that
Cloak
is
is black. His black.
Yeah, they're actually black.
I just meant when I said that one's dark, one's light. I don't necessarily mean that.
Yeah,
they have to be black and white, but
but they are in the comics.
When you said not literally, I assumed that they weren't.
No. In the comics, they are like Cloak's black, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, name's Tyrone Johnson.
Yeah, and Dagger's white. And
I put money on them swapping it around.
No, well, why?
Why not? Just to mess with things.
I suppose they could, but they're definitely going to be interracial, because the description for the TV show specifically points out they're an interracial couple.
They've always been like that.
Yeah.
That's just kind of part of their character, and it's supposed to just go ahead. It's just weird that the black guy has to be the dark character.
Yeah, I was saying that's why I think they'll swap it around, just to subvert that. It's the same reason where they swapped out all the Power Rangers around.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if maybe here it kind of plays into the whole. I don't know. Like the whole idea is Cloak, when he's drawing the comics anyway, they sort of can draw him as a complete shadow. The idea that he sort of blends into his costume, and he can use that to as part of
his cloak
style.
Just extends out, and he can envelop something and remove it from play.
And I feel like that almost is ruined if you've just got this white face like peeking out.
Fair enough.
Not that you can't film it so that even a white person can do that, but I can see where stylistically it actually works better if you've got a black person in that role.
Yeah, and so the idea is this was the low-level characters, kind of street level, friendly with like Spider-Man and people like that. But just kind of more like Daredevil and Spider-Man, where they focus on like areas, neighborhoods, instead of being like Avengers who are global kind of situation. But I can see, because especially with the Ultimate, because the Ultimate stuff sends so much more of them being younger. They got introduced a lot with Miles recently, and they're all around the same age. It's all like high school age, and experiments are happening. People want to kidnap them and figure them out and study them, and it's a lot like.
It wouldn't be the first time that a Marvel adaptation took influence from the Ultimate Universe. So
Yeah.
There's no word on when this would actually hit. Part of me thinks it would be in fall with other new shows, but then this is
it's quite late for that, isn't it?
This is not a network that necessarily. But why is that quite late for that?
I don't know. Like announcing this all now, it's May already. I mean, are these all commissioned or are these all pilots?
This is ordered straight to series, I believe. This one.
Right.
Well, it's going to be weird is having them be isolated, because a lot of it. I mean, obviously their characters themselves are interesting, but it usually it's supposed to bleed into them being vigilantes and experiencing what it's like to team up with like Spider-Man and be in the world where those people exist, and them kind of because they're supposed to be younger, so the idea is that they kind of look up to Peter and they look up to like Matt Murdock.
Yeah,
maybe they'll
And
just
if you
play
remove
more
all
into
of that. Yeah, and remove all of that from the show. Now you're focusing completely on the fact that they're. It's like it could be kind of like Buffy, where it's all high school stuff that happens to have superpowers.
it could be, and I don't actually think that'd be a bad idea either. Like if it's done well, the problem is.
Damn it, Mario!
Yeah, Mario.
I was waiting for Peter to bring it up this whole time.
Oh,
It's in his mind. I knew it was
well,
there.
the problem is, and that's the thing. The problem with Buffy is that it's one of the only examples of something done well like that.
Yeah.
Peter looked worried for a second there when you said the problem with Buffy. He was like, "Oh, is this?"
I knew where he was going with it, but no, you're
No,
right.
it's true. It's just it's one of the few examples you're looking at and like, no, this is good. But other than that, there's very few of them.
Because it usually comes down to just the writing and the characters. Often, a lot of these teen things set in high schools, it becomes very shallow very quickly.
Yeah. Well,
love
Buffy was
the
kind of the
fiction.
other way around. It was a lot simpler and dumber, but then it got a lot more deep.
Yeah, yeah. So, no, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely cool to see the whole Marvel universe, cinematic universe, hitting a completely different demographic and a completely different place. Obviously, we will check out the pilot when it hits. Will we like it? I'd hope so. I'd hope it'd still be good for what it is, but, you know, this could be something where we watch the pilot and go, yeah, this isn't something we can...
And for us, yeah.
I feel like with this whole new network, there's going to be a whole bunch of things that we're going to be like, nope.
Yeah, yeah. That said, though, they did announce a whole bunch of other stuff coming for later this year and presumably next year. Because obviously, since they started Shadowhunters in the middle of like February or January, whatever it was, I assume that they're not tied to the the fall to May.
Yeah, they're not
season.
sticking to the regular schedule.
So I don't know when this will appear, but they did announce a lot of other things, a bunch of dramas and a few comedies. So I'm just going to run through these here. First up, we've got Rising, which is executive produced by Selena Gomez. The drama is set in a low income...
Wait. The fucking pop singer is executive producing a show.
She was
Yes.
she not from the Disney stuff? Do Disney shows?
Probably, yeah.
As in being in them, or as in producing them?
I think she was in them, but like it's like what I mean is she's familiar with the world of TV.
Honestly, glancing ahead, Mara, this isn't going to be the first name that you're going to be like, what, they're executive producing a show? So, that's coming up, don't worry. But yeah, so it's set in a low-income Latino neighborhood, and it is told through the eyes of an 18-year-old girl destined for greatness.
All of this, everything here, it sounds like, because Marvel has had this line of things that kind of came out that all fit this demographic. Like there was a series called NYX, and that's where X-23 came from, Laura, who is a clone of Wolverine. That originally was all about like runaways in New York City, and then like Cloak and Dagger fit into that really well, and the Runaways fits in that really well. It's all very much like teenage drama and dealing with shitty situations from a low income, poor families.
This next one could be terrible, but I at least applaud it for being really high concept. It's called The Deep, and it's set in a town called Bristol Cove, and they're apparently obsessed with mermaids, like that's their tourist sort of thing, you know. However, one day actual mermaids show up and cause sides to be taken, and loyalties will be tested, and a war between man and mermaid begins.
Jesus Christ. Oh, this is on a teen network. How do you even do that on a teen drama network?
Well, no, actually they're gonna be really hot.
Yeah,
Oh, that's it. Yeah, of course.
yeah, they're going to be
They'll
hot.
take
There
the
you go,
CW
John.
route.
Yeah.
Of course.
Let's be honest, though.
So then you're dealing with somebody running into a mermaid who's in a relationship, and then the other person's gonna get really, really jealous.
There's going to be so many hot shirtless mermaids, isn't there?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's what's going to happen. Or well, they're not mermaids if they're male, though, are they? So they'll be merman or merman.
Merman.
Yeah.
Which makes me think of Cabin in the Woods, which you've not seen that movie. Check it out.
Unless they actually go the route of all mermaids are female. Like, there is no mermen, and that's part of the
Well,
conflict.
in that case, our hope of them all being topless is probably shot in the foot.
Hey,
Yeah, they'll
they got to
make
have
sure
some
to have
6-year-old
them in-
bras, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I say foot. I really should say shot in the fin, but
That was fucking dreadful.
oh, come on, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, next up was a show called Hunted, executive produced by Mila Kunis.
It's better.
It is better.
She's actually, more involved, and she's one of Seth MacFarlane's friends.
That's true. It focuses on a character named Valerie who escapes prison to prove that she did not murder her husband. While the police hunt for her and attempt to prove her family helped her escape, Valerie fights to exonerate herself. But is she really innocent?
This sounds like a really limited idea, like a one-season idea.
It does sound quite limited. It doesn't sound as batshit insane as The Deep either, which means I'm instantly not as excited for it.
It sounds a lot more generic.
Because don't get me wrong, The Deep could be terrible, but at the very least, I've got a feeling that we'll have a blast reviewing that pilot.
The one thing you can't call it is generic.
Yeah, I agree.
So
when was the last time a TV show plot synopsis said war between men and mermaids? Can't wait. Alright, this next one is potentially interesting. It's called Lore, right? As in Lore. And the reason why I'm spelling that is because my accent makes that word quite difficult to hear from me. So, Lore. It's a sci-fi drama from executive producer McG. Now, as much as I don't like McG, his TV shows tend to fare much better than his movies that he's involved with, because he did do Chuck. He executive produced that, and Supernatural, which did have 5 good seasons, so, that's not necessarily a bad sign. It tells the story of a lone survivor of an ancient race of paranormal beings who is abducted and forced to put his extraordinary abilities to work for the government. When an old nemesis resurfaces, this arrangement turns into an uneasy alliance, and the only hope for survival in a dangerous world of mystery and magic.
Now, this does sound generic.
That sounds more generic, but at least could be good.
Sometimes the generic ones have more promise, because it's like, well, if you take the concept's kind of generic, so it's fine, because we've seen it done well.
But then if you have good writing and good characters, the whole thing,
yeah,
it elevates it. And it's interesting to call a TV show Lore, though, because lore, because of what it means in this context, it's kind of strange, I think.
Well, I get it. The whole thing is it's playing into this guy's ancient history.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
next up, this is notable for a lot of people. I've never seen it, but there is a British TV show called Misfits, which is about a bunch of sort of down and out late teens, early 20s.
they're on what's it called?
They're on probation.
It's
a bunch of
like
kids that are on
community support, like community
Right,
service.
Right. So there's going to be a US remake of it for this network. And it's a group of 20-somethings that are exposed to a mysterious chemical and subsequently develop peculiar superpowers.
It reminded me like Attack the Block, but with superpowers.
Kind of. I never wanted to watch the show. It didn't appeal to me very much.
I've tried it. I fucking hate it. It's so fucking boring.
Right. So.
And then they recast like half of them like halfway through because
that's annoying.
contracts expired.
Yeah, there's a lot of them more about them arguing and being fucking criminals
so
and.
This is one case where maybe the Americanized version might actually improve.
I mean, you could argue that it's happened with things like The Office, taste allowing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Shameless being human.
Well, definitely not being human. Come on.
I think I've never.
UK being human's way better.
What? No.
UK being humans.
The UK one's like barely there, and the American one's like 1,000 times better.
Fuck off.
Let's not turn this into this. All
I
right.
generally prefer the American version of shows, exception to Top Gear.
Nah. Yeah, to be fair though, Mario, you only watch like the few that have kind of worked. There's a lot of ones that have just instantly bombed at the
What's
start.
the in-between as American?
Yeah, watch the American attempt at... Well, it never actually aired, but the IT Crowd had an American pilot which just went nowhere. They tried to do an American Only Fools and Horses, and of course it completely... I mean, they cast John Leguizamo as fucking Del Boy. What the hell? That is the biggest miscast I've ever seen in my life.
You know, some things are just so sacred that you just shouldn't be allowed to touch them.
Nah, yeah, I agree. And Only Fools is one of those things.
It is.
Of course, Americans listening to this have no idea what we're talking about. Let's just say that it's a very loved British sitcom, and we do not want it bastardized in any way by anyone. So, stay away. So, Misfits is getting remade. Next up, we've got New People, which Joel Silver's in part executive producing. This is a dramedy focusing on a middle-class family who adopts an identical set of twin boys at birth. One is all boy, one grew up as trans, and it's inspired by a book called Becoming Nicole: The Transformation of an American Family. So, this is different. Like,
it's a weird choice to make this journey of a trans person into a dramedy rather than a straight-up drama.
I can see what you're saying. Maybe that's kind of the point, though, is to show the lighter side of it, that it's not
could be. Yeah.
It's not all, big moments. Like, I mean, even people who go through this have jokes and.
Yeah, you're right.
I do think it's obviously this is maybe more about the book than the show, because obviously the book maybe made this choice first. But I like the idea that it's a set of identical twins, so that you can always see what he would have been,
like what they would have looked like.
Yeah. Like at the same time. That's an interesting contrast. That said, do I think this will appeal to us and it's something we'll cover? I don't know. It depends on writing and things like that. But it's not a terrible idea, actually. So, that's good. 9 Years Under is the next one. It's a story of a law school grad who blows off the bar exam to take a job at a funeral home after the sudden death of her mother.
Well, that's a vague setup if ever there was one.
Although I get the title now that I've read this description.
Yeah.
Because it's like 9 years of schooling just down the drain.
But it doesn't really give us any idea what the show will actually be like.
It does not, no.
That's like the opening 15 minutes, and then what's it about?
Her learning to be a funeral person.
How long did that take?
I don't know. I mean, if you're a bit squeamish, it could take a while.
It's just a fair point.
I don't know. I assume that if she's making rash calls at this, she's probably kind of erratic, and maybe it'll be just how fucked up her life is in general because of this. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
Interestingly, it reminds me almost a little bit of the setup for iZombie.
I was just thinking that.
Because in iZombie, she's working so much to be a doctor, and then this thing happens, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm just going to work in the morgue.
Yeah, and then you say funeral home, and I think of Blaine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what my mind just went to a minute ago. It's like, well, he did it with no training, so.
So that's all the dramas that they've announced, but they've announced a few comedies as well. So first up, we've got Alone Together, and this is from Andy Samberg actually, and a few other people. It's about two misfits from different backgrounds try to make their way into the vain and status-obsessed culture of Los Angeles. Along the way, they find salvation and their male-female strictly platonic friendship. Do you know what the most interesting thing about that whole paragraph is? Is the fact that it says strictly platonic friendship.
Yeah, it's like, look, right now it's like, fuck off, there's not going to be any relationship between these two. Like, just forget about it.
It's kind of sad that that's the most interesting thing, but that's because I'm just so used to TV shows having to do that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Almost every sitcom ever has to pair off every possible combination of males and females. You know?
I don't know, like the concept sounds fine, and I suppose, ensembles involved, talent's there.
Again, it's vague. It's platonic friendship between a male and female, and they move to Los Angeles and do whatever. I mean, it's pretty vague, but it could be good, again, based on...
Well, I think we've said in the past, especially for comedies and sitcoms, like the setup almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really has nothing to do with it.
Next up, they apparently really like Los Angeles at this network because the next one's called Made in LA, and it's from producers Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, who's from Gossip Girl apparently, and Mila Kunis again. Mila Kunis is getting into this.
How much did they pay her to join on this network?
I have no idea, but maybe she's like part of the whole thing. Maybe she's part of the team that like renamed it. I don't know.
Just feel kind of like maybe she's actually involved in all this
she's
at
got
higher level.
stake in it. But it's a half-hour comedy set in the world of fashion. Oh boy, we're into this already, aren't we? Centering on two friends who join their different skill sets to become fashion entrepreneurs. The series is loosely inspired by the creators of the fashion label Juicy Couture.
I'm out.
And the authors of the Glitter Plan.
I don't think I can even deal with one episode of that. Fashion jokes. Nope.
I don't know. And the last thing they've announced here, and also a comedy, is called Page One, and it's spelled Paige, so like the name Paige. And it's about a children's author who hates kids. And it's produced by Elizabeth Banks. Again, another name that's not necessarily...
Oh, I didn't know that she was involved in this one.
But yeah, it's about the life of a children's book author whose name Paige, I assume. And her life turns upside down when her brother shows up on her door with his two youngest daughters, so she's going to have to make do with putting up with kids now. So that makes it feel a bit more generic, but I appreciate the pun in the title.
Yeah, that alone kind of warrants it. I'll at least try an episode.
Yeah. And also, if you don't know this, Connor's girlfriend's named Paige, and because this world of these puns is opened up to me, I am determined to find a girl named Paige and start dating her, just so that I can occasionally say to Connor, I don't think we're on the same page. That's my new life goal.
Okay.
That is a very worthy goal. In pursuit of the perfect pun.
Exactly.
Make that a show. And that's what you can call it.
Oh god. So that's all the shows that Freeform have announced. Presumably for this fall, get into the winter, I imagine. These are all coming, give or take, so that's pretty cool. Because, I mean, it's only a few weeks, really, since we've been doing all the other pilot announcements from the other networks. Only about a month later, so...
Oh, that's true.
I can see these all still hitting in maybe October, something like that. At least some of them. So, that's all that. Next up, Lucifer's been renewed by Fox. So that's getting a season 2. So maybe we'll hear that that's been improving or something soon, and maybe we can go back and revisit it. Although I'm not holding my breath.
I don't really hear anyone talking about it, actually.
That's the weird thing.
Good or bad, it just doesn't exist almost.
I mean, it might turn into one of those shows that keeps getting renewed, and we don't actually know anybody that watches it.
Well,
there's a bunch of those in there.
Here's another one for you. Fox have also renewed Rosewood, which I'll be honest, I'd never heard of until
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
Mario, you know it?
Vaguely, maybe, but no.
No.
Don't really know.
A gentleman that could have played Luke Cage appears to be starring in it, but that's about all I can tell you. So he's a black ball guy with a goatee, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's about it. So I thought I'd mention Lucifer though, because we did cover the pilot, so I felt it was relevant. Next up, production company Studio 8 is developing a sci-fi series. It doesn't have a network yet, I don't believe, but where are we? Yeah, it's actually based on a series of books. It's a series of 5 novellas called Beacon 23, and that's what the name of the show would be as well, presumably. It's set in the 23rd century, where a shell-shocked former soldier mans a lighthouse beacon for spaceships and must face his demons when the beacon fails, endangering thousands of lives. That sounds interesting.
Sounds very much like a limited series again.
Well, it's based on 5 books. You could get quite a few seasons out of that, probably.
5 novellas, though.
True. I could see it being a few seasons, but it's coming from Josh Friedman, who ran the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles. And interestingly, this also mentions that, this is from Variety, that he's co-writing Avatar 3, which I thought was a weird tidbit. I didn't realise anyone was co-writing that with James Cameron. But
I forgot Avatar 3 was a thing. I'll wait till we see the second first.
And then I'll start thinking about 3.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I like the title. I like the synopsis. I have never heard of the books. But but it does sound interesting to me. Sounds very much my sort of thing. Again, it all comes down to quality, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're all agreed on that. Excellent. Nothing like deafening silence. Just to...
Oh well, just what do you want to say? Yeah, sounds fine.
It happens a lot with these pilot things. It's just, I mean, you can go either way.
Just to say it sounds cool, bruv, Mario. That's all you need to say to me.
In it, bruv.
In it. Alright, next up, speaking about weird, we're getting weirder as we go here.
Wait, hang on, weirder than the mermaids?
Potentially.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll see how you feel about this. An Italian production company, Italian production company called Wildside. They are actually developing a show which will be shot in English, right? So you're probably thinking it's just an Italian show, and it kind of is, but it's getting shot in English for worldwide audience. And it's going to be a spaghetti western with zombies.
That's not as weird as the mermaids.
Okay, fair enough. I said potentially.
Yeah, well, plus we had a game that kind of did that already.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption.
Awesome.
That was great.
Not spaghetti western though. There's a difference.
We can kind of imagine it based on the game.
I guess, but it's based on a comic book from Europe. It's called Get It, and it's an Italian comic book. And it's
By John Skinner, called Get It, Get That Ham.
And it's a bit of a cult sort of success in mainland Europe.
It reminds me of, what was that Chris Evans movie with the train? Snowpiercer, because that's also based on a French comic book that apparently is successful in Europe, but not really around here.
And it takes inspiration from Sam Peckinpah's classic Western movie, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, but the twist being that the Indians are actually zombies. So, and they're shooting it in Spain in the tradition of like classic spaghetti westerns, like the Sergio Leone movies and stuff like that, the Man with No Name trilogy. That stuck out to me. I thought this was kind of interesting. Again, quality is a big thing, but concept alone,
yeah, the potential's there.
so it's cool. It's definitely the sort of thing that we'll definitely check a pilot out of. So, no, that's Garrett. And then last up in the news this week, Fox is given a straight-to-series order for a summer show, which is a romantic mockumentary comedy called Famous. And it's in the mockumentary style, of course, and it revolves around high school teachers Fred and Geneva, who are dating, both secretly aspire to work in Hollywood. He wants to be a screenwriter and she wants to be a pop diva, although that's technically not Hollywood, but whatever. And one of those dreams is miraculously comes true when Geneva lands a record deal after her first music video goes viral. But as she rises to stardom, he feels pushed to the sidelines. The season will explore if the couple can survive or if they will discover that being famous and then love makes for a complicated threesome. And I think they'll be in couples therapy, I think is where the sort of the interview parts will come from.
I'm always down for a good mockumentary, I'll be honest. So...
It's the sort of thing where you could tell me this and it sounds like a really depressing drama about this couple falling out of love, but then I was like, oh, it's a comedy, okay, maybe it...
Those can make the best sorts of comedies, though.
Yeah, they can do, yeah. Interestingly, it said it's coming from Ralph Farquhar, I think I'm saying that right, who it quotes as he was someone behind the TV show Moesha, which I thought, wait a minute, I've not heard of that show in like 20 years. That is a deep cut of a credit. Deep cut.
Jesus. Maybe he's been out of the game for a while.
Was that Nickelodeon? I can't remember.
No, that was like UPN.
Right, I think he was in Trouble then. I was on Trouble.
Christ, I forgot about that channel.
And Trouble was like, that was like Teen Bravo for us. Like, we had Bravo, but then there was like Trouble, which was like all these more teen-orientated shows. Yeah, they shut that channel down like 10 years ago. But hey. So yeah, that's coming. So we actually got a lot of new shows announced this week. So, but that's it for the news this week on Almost Cancelled. Let's get to the week's TV reviews. So, if you're watching on YouTube, click the links. If you're on the audio version, they're about to start. Use the timestamps in the description to jump around to whatever ones you want. And there's my cat's ear just poking at the camera. And so yeah, that's this week's TV reviews.